What up? What up? What up? It's the Funk Dr. Spock back in the building with another episode of CT Baseball Live. We're live in the building with my main man, Coach E from Milestones Baseball Analytics. Coach, what up, though?
What's going on with you, Coach?
Everything's
We got
good.
an entire month's worth of action that we're gonna have to peel the layers back on, Coach.
Yes, a lot of baseball action, quite a few games, and some cancellations as well. So,
Yeah, April is always a rainy month. What we've learned this month is we have to schedule more games in April on turf. Let's get as
absolutely.
many turf games as we can get scheduled in the month of April as possible. And that puts us in a position to potentially play more of these games.
Yes.
Because it's not necessarily the fact that it's raining. It's the fact that some of the fields aren't playable. So if we can eliminate that issue by making sure that we schedule more games on turf in April.
Absolutely.
I'm ready to get busy, Coach. We got an entire month worth of games that we're gonna have to peel the layers back on, and so we're gonna do the short ABC 1, 2, 3 version on a lot of these games.
Yeah, so April 3rd, Friday, the Cass Tech varsity technicians defeated by the University Liggett varsity Knights 9-4 at University Liggett. Juan Torres took the loss for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The pitcher went 5 innings, surrendering 6 runs, 5 earned on 5 hits, striking out 2 and walking 1. Torres and Mitchell II each collected 2 hits for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. Hooper led Cass Tech varsity technicians with 1 run batted in. The infielder went 1 for 3 on the day.
So, real quick, their starting pitcher, the starting pitcher that they put on the mound, he was solid, but he wasn't anything that we couldn't handle. We had our foot on their neck for about 4 or 5 innings, 4-1. They couldn't score. They eventually opened the game up after we had a collision in the outfield. We got a right fielder and a center fielder going after the baseball, both going hard after the baseball. It happens all the time. The ball was in the gap. That kind of turned the tide of the game. They did eventually, later on in the game, get a couple of home runs, but essentially, we didn't hit enough. We had 6 hits in that game. Now that I look at the box score, we had 6 hits in that game, and we had those 6 hits scattered amongst 4 players. So people will realize that throughout the course of this month of April, we've been hitting the baseball pretty dang good, and this is a game where eventually we stopped hitting. And but again, we've matched up with Liggett before. Two matchups, they've won one and we've tied one, and we still haven't got that elusive victory against them yet. But I like the way that we match up with this team, but still we just have not gotten it done yet. So tip my cap to Liggett. Um, you know, this was a quirky game, but nonetheless, they got the job done and we didn't, and that's the bottom line.
Yeah, it was some times to where we had our foot on their neck for a minute and we kind of just gave it back. So made a couple of mistakes, and that's the game of baseball, but we move on.
Yeah, one of the things I will say is Juan Torres had real good command of their lineup throughout the course of maybe the first 4 or 5 innings, and then we sent Juan back out there for one more inning, and they touched him up a little bit. Emmett Mitchell II came in a reserve capacity, and there were a couple of routine fly balls, in my opinion, that probably should have been caught that weren't, that led to Emmett giving up a couple of runs when in reality he should have been out of the inning without giving up a run. And it's not anyone's fault. The wind was blowing, but they were routine fly balls. They probably should have been caught. but we eventually, that game ended up they ended up busting that game open, so to speak, on some unfortunate plays, but that's baseball.
That's baseball.
Yeah.
So now we're going into the weekend of April 11th. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians defeated by the Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians got on the board in the first inning after Juan Torres single scoring 1 run. Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes added 1 run in the third inning. So a single scoring making the score 7-1. Richardson earned a win for the Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes. The pitcher allowed 2 hits and 1 run over 3 innings, striking out 5 and walking 1. Torres pitched 5 1/3 innings in relief for the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians. The pitcher gave up 6 hits and 2 runs, 1 earned, while striking out 2 and walking 1. Chris Hooper took the loss for the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians. The starting pitcher went 2/3 of an inning, giving up 6 runs on 6 hits, striking out 2 and walking 2. Torres, Zion Finley, Jabari, and Braylon Griffin each collected 1 hit for the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians.
The bottom line in game 1 against Cranbrook is they came out hitting the ball very hard, and we didn't match their energy. We didn't hit. We had 4 total hits in game 1 in the doubleheader on that Saturday. And that was the game. We had 4 hits. That's not who we are. So for 2 games straight, we had 6 hits. We had 4 hits. We had a total of 10 hits. That's not who we are. Over the course of the season, we've learned that this team hits the ball. This was a couple of games where we didn't hit the baseball, and they jumped out and they hit the ball very hard. Coming in starting out, I think I want to say they're 1, 2, and 3 hitters. All hit line drives very hard. They scored some runs. We eventually started to walk them down, but essentially we ran out of time. So, another game where we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We didn't come out and do what we were supposed to do. So we gave up some runs and we didn't get any.
Right. It was just a situation of where the time to hit just wasn't there. So, I think we did a better job of that in the second meeting of that day.
Yeah, so we had a doubleheader with Cranbrook, and then so I know you're going to read the recap, but yeah, just a little preview. That game ended up producing a total of 46 runs. So this was a fun and interesting game. I'm excited to talk about
it. Absolutely. Kyrie Kumasi strong-eyed leads Cass Tech Varsity Technicians past the Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes. 25-21 victory over Cranbrook. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians came back to win despite trailing 19-9 in the third. The Cass Tech Varsity Technicians got on the board in the top of the first inning after Jelani Jabari doubled to center field and Juan Torres grounded out, each scoring 1 run. Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes flipped the game on his head in the bottom of the first, scoring 9 runs on 5 hits to take the lead 9-2. The biggest blow in the inning was a ground out that drove in 2. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians scored 7 runs on 7 hits in the top of the third inning. Jabari single scoring 1 run. Torres single scoring 1 run. Jaden Friday double scoring 2 runs. Zion Finley double scoring 2 runs. And Kamazi single scoring 1 run. The Cranbrook Kingswood Varsity Canes flipped the game on his head in the bottom of the third, scoring 10 runs on 10 hits to take the lead 19-9. Each Cass Tech Varsity Technician scored 9 runs on 5 hits in the top of the 4th inning. Finley double scoring 2 runs. Jabari double scoring 2 runs. Emmett Mitchell II single scoring 2 runs. And Jaden Friday homered to left field scoring 3 runs. In the top of the 5th inning, the Cass Tech varsity technicians went back into the lead after Chris Hooper was struck by a pitch. Mitchell II walked, and Friday was struck by a pitch, each scoring 1 run. Zion Finley earned the win for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The reliever gave up 0 hits and 1 run, 0 earned over 1 2/3 innings, striking out 2 and walking 4. Friday led things off on the bump for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The pitcher surrendered three hits and 9 runs, 7 earned over 1/3 of an inning, striking out none and walking 5.
Yeah, in both of these games against Cranbrook, our pitching was not optimal. We didn't get the pitching in either game that we probably would have liked to had gotten to start off both games. But in this game, we were able to walk down 8 runs and we were able to walk down 9 runs, scoring a total of 25 runs. Some very important things to note in this game is this was Jaden Friday's coming out party, his very first game action, very first weekend with us after waiting to be cleared to play. He drives in 6 runs and hits a home run. We have Zion Finley was able to get on the bump and throw a few innings. He scored. He threw he only gave up 1 earned run. Emmett Mitchell II gave up 1 earned run. Kumasi gave up 10 runs, but he was commanding his pitches. They were just putting the ball in play. And so again, it was a total of 46 runs scored. Eventually, we were able to run away with the game and go up about 4 runs after we had that bottom of the the top of the 7th inning was the inning that kind of cemented the game when we got the final 2 runs that they ran out of gas in their last at bat. So this was a up and down affair. Lots of runs being scored, lots of traffic on the bases, and it was a learning experience for Cass Tech baseball because we came back from being down 8 runs and then came back from being down 9 runs. So it showed us that we can overcome any lead. And as the month of April went on, we had to overcome leads on a few other occasions. And I think that it was this experience where we were able to draw upon, that gave us the confidence to keep battling and keep fighting to pull some games out later in April because of this experience here around April 11th.
Sometimes particular situations teach life lessons to be put into play later on. So with that being said, it was quite a few things that happened in this game. I think the team really showed some grit by hanging in there and coming back several times. And big shots out to the guys for having the mental capacity and the will to continue to push to win that ball game. They bite, scratch, crawl to the last out.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that our baseball team during that second game had to overcome some very poor officiating as well. It was probably some of the worst officiating that I had experienced in a very long time. And it was blatantly obvious to me that at some point, the official behind the plate had decided that he wasn't going to call the game partially any longer. So he wasn't going to be impartial any longer. So it is what it is. We were able to pull the win out regardless. We didn't make any excuses and we got the job done.
Correct. So now we're at Monday, April 13th. The Cass Tech varsity technicians triumph over the Melvindale varsity Cardinals, 11-6 on Monday. Melvindale varsity Cardinals got on the board in the top of the 1st inning after Jordan Rangel hit a sacrifice fly. David Ochoa singled to center field, and Reyes grounded out each scoring 1 run. The Cass Tech varsity technicians took the lead in the bottom of the first inning after Melvindale committed an error. Jaden Friday walked. Emmett Mitchell II singled down the left field line, and Jaden Mobley hit a sacrifice fly, each scoring 1 run. An error gave Melvindale varsity Cardinals the lead back 5-4 in the top of the second. Chris Hooper hit a sacrifice fly, which helped Cass Tech tie the game at 5 in the bottom of the second. In the bottom of the third inning, Cass Tech went back in the lead after Kyrie Kumasi singled to center field. Jelani Jabari walked and Juan Torres grounded out, each scoring 1 run. Hooper earned the win for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The starting pitcher allowed 7 hits and 6 runs, 4 earned over 5 1/3 innings, striking out 3 and walking 3. The Cass Tech varsity technicians assessed 11 hits in the game.
So this is one of those games, again, where Melvindale jumped out 3-0 on us, and they were hitting the ball really hard. Early, the top of their lineup was hitting the ball and putting it in play really hard. So we were able to settle down, get some runs, and then play the game at the pace that we wanted to play the game at. We're very familiar with Melvindale. We're familiar with their personnel because we play them in the fall. Melvindale will surprise some teams. They are a much better baseball team than some people would probably give them credit for. I knew what to expect because I coach against them in the summer, and but they look pretty good. And those top 3 hitters are very impressive. That center fielder, and then Ocampo, and then Rangel. We know those guys come to play. They have some other supporting cast members that can play as well. But though the 1, 2, 3 hitters particularly, they're gonna challenge you. They have good pitching, but we hit. So this was one of those games where Melvindale don't have enough horses to beat us. If in a 3-game series, a couple of 3-game series, they may squeak out 1 win and 2 3-game series against us or something like that. They're a good team, but we just have too many horses. We hit from top to bottom. And again, like I said, we had a couple of games where we didn't hit, but this is one of those games where we did normally what we're normally going to do because they have a good pitching staff, and we got 11 hits. We drove in 8 runs. We took our walks. The 6 strikeouts is a little on the high side from what I would like, but that's not a lot of strikeouts in a 7-inning game. So 11 runs, we'll take it.
All right. So now we're going to April 14th, and we have a Blue Division matchup against Western. Cass Tech varsity technicians walk off in a nail biter against Western International varsity Cowboys, 6-5. The game was tied at 5 in the bottom of the 7th when Jordan Scott doubled, scoring 1 run. Despite falling down by 4 runs in the 5th inning, the Western International varsity Cowboys tried to fight back. Western International varsity Cowboys closed the gap by scoring on a hit by a pitch, a walk, and a hit by a pitch. The Cass Tech varsity technicians were the first to get on the board in the first when Chris Hooper grounded out, scoring 1 run. The technicians added 1 run in the second after Western International varsity Cowboys committed an error. The Cowboys tied the game in the top of the 7th thanks to a hit by a pitch and a walk by Lopez and a hit by pitch. Emmett Mitchell II earned the win for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The hurler surrendered 1 hit and 3 runs over 1 inning, striking out 2 and walking 3. Lopez took the loss for the Western International varsity Cowboys. The reliever went 1 1/3 innings, allowing 1 run, 0 earned on 1 hit, striking out 4 and walking 2. Jaden Friday began the game for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. The hurler gave up 5 hits and 2 runs over 6 innings, striking out 5 and walking 4.
This was a solid outing for Jaden Friday. He pretty much kept them at bay and kept them at a two run standstill for the majority of the game in which he pitched. He got up to 104 pitches, so we had to go in another directions, and so Emmett Mitchell II comes into the game. I'm not sure if he knew he was going to pitch, but he didn't have good command of his curveball early on and hit a couple of batters. And so that led to the couple of free bases that they received. To me, it didn't seem as if, had he been in the zone consistently, that they were going to be able to really handle his fastball. But his fastball was getting away from him. And then when he got command of the fastball, it appeared that the umpire had decided that he was going to squeeze him. So he had to get swings and misses. Nonetheless, in the inning that he pitched, he was able to get out of it without losing the game. But he did give up the lead and then was able to come back and get the win. And so normally in the baseball world, when you blow the save, you really are not supposed to get the win, but sometimes it happens that way. And it happened that way for Emmett. To his credit, he was able to come out of that inning, come up to the plate with a run with a out already recorded, work a walk after fouling off a few pitches with a great battle against Lopez, who had came in relief. Emmett steals second, overthrow to second. He makes it to third, and then he scores on a long fly ball by Jordan Scott to win the game. So the one thing that I take from this game is that he was able to put aside the fact that he came in a save opportunity. Maybe he didn't pitch as well as he wanted to, but he was able to go up to the plate, bear down, get a job done, and help his team win a baseball game. And so, as always with Western, normally the games are close. They played us close. I think the score 6-5 doesn't really tell the real story. This is a game where we left 9 runners on base, and this game probably should have got lopsided. This probably should have been a 9-2 game, 9-3 games, or 8-3, somewhere up in there. And so if I take anything from this game, we have to make sure that with runners in scoring position, we are doing the job. We play them again on May 1st. They're going to make their adjustments. We're going to need to make our adjustments.
Yeah. I also like the fact that our number 8 hitter, Braylon Griffin, had 2 runs batted in the game, and one of our seniors, Jelani Jabari, had 2 hits and 4 at bats in this game as well. So some pretty good key points here. And we close out a game that technically shouldn't have gotten out of hand, but they did what they had to do to win the game.
Absolutely. So we had Kumasi. We scored 6 runs in the game. We had 8 hits. 8 hits are on that other side of acceptable for us.
Right.
In a good baseball game against a good baseball team, if you can get 8 hits and you can get 4 walks and you can get 12 runners on base, you should be able to get some runs scored. And so we were right at our expectation mark. We need to do a little more next time. Kumasi scored 2 runs. Emmett Mitchell II scored 3 runs, 3 of the 6 runs, and then Jaden Friday scored a run. So I want us to do. We're gonna need to get a little more out of our lineup when we match up with them on May 1st, and I'm looking forward to it.
Right. So now we're at Friday, April 17th.
So we played Mumford back to back, Coach, and I think that it'd be wise for us to just talk about our pitching performances, our 2 pitching performances, and move on.
I think so too.
Because no disrespect, but Mumford is a building program, and so there's not much to talk about here, with the exception of the fact that Braylon Fields in game 1, which only went 2 innings, 18-0, he had 6 strikeouts, no walks, no hits, no runs, no earned runs, and so that's a great day for any pitcher. And so essentially, he pitched a 2-inning perfect game. That's essentially what he did. He pitched a 2-inning perfect game. So we want to give Braylon Fields his credit. We asked him to do a job. He came out and he did the job. We turned right around on that next Tuesday on April 21st, and we played Mumford again. And again, we put Braylon Fields on the mound. Not a perfect game. He gave up 1 run on a walk and 2 stolen bases, in which their leadoff hitter stole home as well. But he had 15 strikeouts, Coach, in 5 innings. So again, Braylon Fields came out and did the job that we asked him to do. I was very impressed. He threw 85 pitches and 53 of them were strikes. That's about 60, 64, 65% strike percentage. He pounded the strike zone all day long. He looked dominant on the mound. He looked really good. And it's less about who he was matched up against. It was more about his ability to throw strikes. And so that was impressive.
Yes, it was. And Ian Boyer, Ray Curry Jr., and Zion Finley had pretty good hitting days on that day too as well. So shouts out to
Absolutely.
those guys. Freshman Ray Curry Jr. had a double in that game. Zion also had a double and an RBI in that game as well. So Finley has really been hot with the bat lately.
Yeah, he's heating up. And as we'll probably talk about in some of the other games that we're going to discuss, he's been hitting the baseball really, really well, and he's been hitting the baseball hard. So, and this, one of the things that I've noticed about this Cass Tech team is they're just passing the hot bat around. One day it's Braylon, one day it's 3 games is Jelani, a couple of games is Juan, a couple of games is Kumasi. A couple of games is Emmett. A couple of games is Zion. So we've been saying it all season. We don't all have to hit at the same time to beat anybody.
Right.
We got that many hitters in our lineup.
Now we're at Thursday, April 23rd. Jelani Jabari puts on a strong contact performance as Cass Tech varsity technicians take the win over Green Hills varsity. Jelani Jabari collected 3 hits and 4 at-bats as the Cass Tech varsity technicians defeated Green Hills varsity 13-3 on Thursday. Jabari hit a solo home run to left field in the 5th inning, singled in the 2nd inning, and singled in the 2nd inning. Cass Tech varsity technicians won thanks in part to 10 runs in the 2nd inning. Juan Torres drew a walk, scoring 1 run. Error scored 1 run. Jaden Friday single, scoring 1 run. Emmett Mitchell II was struck by a pitch, driving in a run. Jordan Scott was struck by a pitch, driving in a run. Braylon Griffin hit into a fielder's choice, but 2 runs scored. Kyrie Kumasi drew a walk, scoring 1 run, and Jabari single, scoring 2 runs.
So again, we are right around that 9 hit mark. You get 8, 9, 10 hits in a game, you more than likely you should win it. We ended up scoring 13 runs in that game. We didn't walk a lot. 5 strikeouts. That's on that lower side where we want it. We don't want too many strikeouts per outing. Green Hills started a kid off on the mound. Last name Barry. He was decent. He has potential, but we hit. So Cass Tech hits the baseball. And so if you're a good pitcher, we're probably still going to touch you up at some point. And that's just the way the cookie crumbled for Green Hills. They gave up a lot of hits and walked some guys at the wrong time. We were able to pack the runs on and get out of there with the mercy, 13-3. So
yeah, Finley gave up 2 hits and 3 runs, 2 earned over 3 innings, striking out 4 and walking 6. And freshman Ray Curry Jr. tossed 2 innings of no-run ball. in relief.
Yeah.
The
We got to get
right-handed pitcher surrendered 1 hit, striking out 4 and walking 2.
yeah, as a pitching staff, we got to get the walks down.
Yeah.
We're surrendering entirely too many walks game in and game out. And it doesn't seem like it because we're getting the timely punch outs or we're getting the timely double plays, which our defense has been lights out under some circumstances this season. And we've turned more double plays, as many double plays this year as we turned all last season. So that's saying a lot. And twin kills can cover up, it's a good deodorant, but we're walking a lot of runners, a lot of hitters, putting a lot of runners on base, and there's a lot of base traffic. And double plays have been getting us out of a lot of these jams. We have to throw more strikes. And so Zion looked good for his first real start of the season, but we want to get those 6. We want to cut those 6 walks in half. If we can get about 3 or 4 walks per 7 from our pitching staff, that's about where we need to be. Once you get 5, 6, 7 walks, you're putting too many runners on base. You're having pitchers having to throw more pitches than they want to or than we need them to, and we have them coming from the stretch. We have them worrying about runners. There's a lot of things going on there that we want to try to avoid. So we have to keep the base on balls, the free passes to a minimum.
Yeah. Torres, Jabari, and Friday gave them a lot of problems in the batting line.
Absolutely.
All right. So now we are at Renaissance. Our first matchup that should have been a doubleheader. And we had a rain delay. We were up 6-0. And I believe it was the bottom of the 4th. And we had a slight pour down, and the umps called the game.
So I'm going to say a couple of things about this game, and then because the game is not complete, we're going to move on. Renaissance has some nice pieces over there. They're going to give you a competitive game. But again, we're going to put runs up. We play good defense. And right now, because this game isn't complete, we haven't finalized it. But as of right now, we're shutting them out. And we've punched them out 9 times. So we got Emmett Mitchell II on the mound, and he's right now, he is in the midst of his best outing of the season, pitching a shutout with 9 punch outs. So the goal is to finish this game out on Wednesday, play them in the second game, and then get ready for Western on May 1st.
All right. So we went into this weekend's matchup with Plymouth Varsity Wildcats. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians come back to defeat Plymouth Varsity Wildcats 11-9 on Saturday at Plymouth High School. Cass Tech Varsity Technicians built a 5-run lead in the 6th inning and then held off Plymouth Varsity Wildcats' charge. The Wildcats closed the gap by scoring on an error, a double play, and a single. The Wildcats got on the board in the 1st inning when Bongard singled, scoring 1 run. The Wildcats added 1 run in the 2nd inning when Jesulek grounded out. The Wildcats added to their early lead in the bottom of the 3rd after Bongard singled to center field and Holmberg laid down a sacrifice bunt, each scoring 1 run. The Technicians flipped the game on his head in the top of the 4th, scoring 7 runs on 2 hits to take the lead 7-4. The biggest blow in the inning was a single by senior Chris Hooper that drove in 2. Emmett Mitchell II hit a solo home run to left field in the top of the 6th for the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians. Juan Torres stepped on the mound first for the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians. The hurler surrendered 11 hits and 9 runs, 6 earned over 6 innings, striking out 2 and walking 4. Isaiah Hooks led things off on the hill for the Plymouth Varsity Wildcats. The pitcher surrendered 1 run and 4 runs over 3 1/3 innings, striking out 4 and walking 6. Kyrie Kumasi threw 1 inning of scoreless ball for the Cass Tech varsity technicians in relief. The reliever gave up 1 hit, striking out 1 and walking none. Torres and Finley each collected 2 hits for the Cass Tech varsity technicians. Torres, Finley, and Hooper each drove in 2 runs for the technicians. The technicians had a strong eye at the plate, accumulating 12 walks for the game. Jordan Scott, Jaden Mobley led the team with 3 walks each, and the technicians turned 2 double plays in the game.
So there's a few things I want to talk about regarding this game. Number one, the Plymouth Varsity Wildcats have beat Heartland, which was the Division I 2025 champions last year, and they brought a lot of players back. They also beat Northville this year twice already. The Plymouth Varsity Wildcats are a very good team. They are a team that, generally speaking, people and baseball pundits outside of the city of Detroit would expect to beat us twice. I actually heard one of their spectators say, I would have never thought we would have lost to them. I want to explain something to people and make this abundantly clear. Cass Tech is as good as any team in the state of Michigan. We are senior laden with some juniors who can flat out play. This is probably one of the best teams that Cass Tech has ever assembled. I expect this team to do some great things down the stretch going into the districts and the regionals. We have given away a couple of games that we probably should not have, but every time we step on the field, no matter who we play, the expectation is that we're going to win that baseball game. We had 9 strikeouts in this game. We got to get that number down. The pitching for Plymouth was good, but it was not 9 strikeouts against us good. We ended up with about 19 base runners total, and so we were able to break through eventually. The double plays were huge for us. Our middle infield is playing elite level baseball, and our outfield may be one of the best outfields in the state with Kumasi, with Jelani Jabari, and with Jordan Scott in the outfield. And we have a 4-man rotation. I don't want to forget Chris Hooper. And so we play, yeah, absolutely. We play good defense. And we're going to hit the baseball. And so when teams match up with us, they should expect to have a great matchup. I don't care who the team is. They should expect a great matchup. So we're putting teams on notice. We play good baseball. And in most instances, if we play our brand of baseball, we're going to win. It's just about playing our brand of baseball. And even if in this 11-9 game, I don't necessarily know if this was our brand of baseball on the offensive end. We simply just had too many strikeouts. And that's just not something that we do. We put the ball in play with runners in scoring position. At one point in time, we had the bases loaded, no outs. We didn't get much out of the inning. We can't allow that to happen. We got lucky against a good team because we turned some double plays. And like I told you, turning double plays have helped us. Really happy that Emmett Mitchell II was able to go yard, because essentially what that does is it lets these teams know that there are players in the lineup that they must account for. And that is very important in baseball. If pitchers think that they can just hit their spots and just come in, enter third with fast balls like they're just going to blow them by guys, and we don't do anything about it, they'll continue to do it. Right after the very next inning, when Emmett came up again, their Plymouth coach came out for a mound visit. And I am 100% certain that they told the pitcher, keep the ball down on this kid. Do not pitch to this kid. Do not give him something to hit. I'm certain that they did, because there were runners on base. He went on to proceed to still drive in a run and get a base hit anyway. But ultimately, at the end of the day, that was later on. That actually, as a matter of fact, that was game 2. Sorry about that. That was his last at bat. But when you have to account for players in the lineup, you pitch different. You are more careful. And when you are being too careful, that's when you make mistakes. And so you don't want pitchers to get comfortable. You want to let them know that we have guys that will change the score and that we are capable of putting a crooked number up on you. And this is about competition. So there is no reason to talk, have any type of passive conversations about competing in baseball, because that's not what we do. So there were some good things happening in this game. Juan had a couple of hits. He drove in a couple of runs. Zion had a couple of hits. He drove in a couple of runs. Of course, Emmett hit a massive bomb, a 350-foot bomb into the wind. And so we were able to come back, walk them down, put up 11 runs, and beat a really good team. In some rankings, they're top 20. Plymouth is top 20 in some rankings. You know, there are 5 or 6 ranking systems, and one of them, they may be even in the top 20. So I'm proud of Kaz. This was kind of a litmus test for us. And but we know what we are and we know what we can do. But we want to make sure that we're putting the state of Michigan on notice, that there is a school in the city of Detroit that is a public school that when you match up with them, you better strap them on and bring your A game. Bottom line.
Right. And now we had the second game. Strong hitting, not enough as Cass Tech Varsity Technicians falls to the Plymouth Varsity Wildcats. 5-1 on Saturday. Emmett Mitchell II led the Cass Tech Varsity Technicians with 2 hits. The Wildcats got on board in the bottom of the first inning after Bongard flew into a double play and Drew Kimball grounded out, each scoring 1 run. Montgomery earned the win for the Wildcats. The pitcher surrendered 4 hits and 1 run over 6 innings, striking out 6 and walking 5. Jaden Friday took the loss for the Technicians. The starting pitcher went 5 innings, allowing 5 runs, 4 earned on 4 hits, striking out 4 and walking 5. Mitchell II led the Technicians with 1 run batted in. The infielder went 2 for 3 on the day. Friday led Cass Tech Varsity Technicians with 2 walks overall. The team had a strong eye at the plate, piling up 6 hits for the game.
So this was a winnable game. We gave away 3 runs on an errant throw that a throw that shouldn't have been made. That's okay. And so that would put them at 2 runs. We ran ourselves out of an opportunity to score a run in that game, and that's okay. But I saw that game as a 2-2 ball game being anybody's ball game, with us giving that game away. So again, we match up well with this team. We were right there where we probably wanted to be, but we gave some things away. That's okay. We didn't hit enough. We are not a 5-hit-a-game team. We are somewhere 8, 9, 10 hits per game type team. So we didn't do what we normally do. We did have 11 total base runners, but we only drove in 1 run on the day. We only scored 1 run. We didn't do enough. We fed the kids good. Maybe they were satisfied with the first win. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, we didn't get it done. I'm sure that they were hungry to make sure that they didn't get double dipped, or what we call, where I'm from, 2 scooped. They didn't want to get 2 scooped. They didn't want 2 flavors of ice cream on that Saturday. So they played a good game. They had strong pitching. They punched us out 6 times. They kept their walks down to a minimum, and they didn't give up a lot. So we tip our cap to the Plymouth Varsity Wildcats. They wanted to make sure that they got out of there with the split. So that was that. Emmett had a couple of hits. He hit the ball pretty well this weekend, and it looks like it appeared that he might have been in a little mini slump, and maybe he's busted his way out of it with a few hits and hitting a bomb. And he has all the potential in the world. All he has to do is go up there and stay aggressive. And if he does that, I like my chances with him against anybody. I don't care who's on the mound.
Right.
And Zion came through with another hit. Friday had a hit. Jelani had a hit. Jelani Jabari had cooled off for a second. He squeaked out another hit to try to keep his rhythm going, but he's been carrying us over the last 3-4 games. He's been hitting the ball a lot. So, our boys will get back on track. That was our final game, and we play again on Wednesday, where we'll be finishing up this postponed game against Renaissance. Then we will start a fresh game against Renaissance. So we will be playing a game and a half come Wednesday, and we are at Northwestern High School starting at 4:30.
Correct. And then we'll have Western on May 1st, and May 2nd, we'll be at Dearborn.
Yep. So we got some big time games coming up, and I'm excited at the direction that our team is going in. We are looking for, after Wednesday's games, to be 11-4. That puts us in a really good position. We've gave a couple of games away this season. That's okay. That happens. It's baseball. Anybody can beat anybody in a one-game scenario. I like this team. I like the way it's constructed. I love our defense. I love our middle infield. I love our sophomores. Our juniors are hitting the ball hard. Our seniors are doing what seniors are supposed to do. They are leading. And I like what we have coming up. Starting next year. So we are in a really good position. I believe that we can do some damage in the state playoffs this year, and I'm excited to see what this team does.
Absolutely. Everything is about just winning the games that you're supposed to win, and everything else to take care of itself. Feel really strong about this team. I think it's probably one of the best constructed teams that they've had in a while. Mm-hmm. And I think on any given night, they're going to be one of the toughest outs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to state this one more time. We are playing in these chunks of time, elite level defense. It's not for 7 straight innings, but we are coming up with some big time plays and some big time moments in important games. And I love it. I love it.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of CT Baseball Live.
Yes, it will.
We've truly enjoyed y'all this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an abundantly blessed evening, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.
Peace. Let's go, CT.